Let's talk about Event Horizon.
You can't leave. She won't let you.
When Sam Neill has his eyes out, like, he just laughs like a motherfucker.
That is one of the funniest scenes ever put on celluloid.
I
guess
it's kind of funny,
because he's got
you just go nuts.
He's got no fucking eyes, and he's talking like as if it's like, I just went, you got like a little problem, like, what? Okay, you're good. You want to give a speech? Go ahead. He's just with the like, I love Sam Neill. This is not good, but that big Cheshire Cat grinny Sam Neill grin he's
Is
got.
Sam Neill ever not entertaining? I can't think of anything where he hasn't been a blast to watch.
Just with that big smile on his face, like, like, you can't leave. She won't let you. Like,
even when he's awful, he is so insanely entertaining.
Oh, and he is so
much
he's
fun.
one of those like great actors who is criminally underused. And always ends up in, like, shit. Like, there's so many, like,
he's done some good
scenery. Yeah.
Like, literally with his teeth and in the Peaky Blinders. Gonna eat the cotton hair.
The authenticity of my accent is none of your concern. By the way, if you haven't seen Peaky Blinders, he's fucking amazing.
It is. His poor accent that he can never get rid of. He really should just be like Sean Connery and just not even try.
He's New Zealand, but he's playing an Irishman, and it goes about as well as you'd think, but it's amazing to watch.
He plays everything but a New Zealander. Yeah. Sadly, because that's the only accent he can do.
Actually, I think Event Horizon may be one of the few where I don't think he was hiding his accent.
He could keep it. Yeah. I think he tries to fake British, and he can get away with that okay, because they are kind of similar.
I don't think they ever stated explicitly where he was from, so it sounded like he just sort of kept his accent, but...
That's one of the things in the movie.
It always comes out in films where he's trying American, and then suddenly he'll pop out like, Ellie, the door locks.
Want to have one of those? I feel like in this movie...
Cutting your intestines.
Maybe that was one of the smart things they did. They just like, all right, can you try an American accent? They heard it and said, you know what, you're going to be a New Zealander. It's like, oh, thank God. But
yeah, he's amazing in this. This is a movie that is awful. Like, just awful. And it's not saved, but is made at least entertaining by Sam Neill and Lawrence Fishburne.
Yeah, Fishburne's a lot of fun in this, too.
He has the best line in the whole movie, which is when they're playing that clip of everybody, like, killing each other, and it just cuts to him, we're leaving. Just best dry delivery
No, but you call him, it's like, fuck this ship.
Fuck this ship.
Two of the best lines in the movie are him, like, almost back to back.
Sick of these motherfucking hell beasts on my motherfucking spaceship. Yeah, he's great in it. It just, the movie around it is just awful.
And when this trailer came out, I remember
it looked cool.
It looked
I was
good
psyched.
because they were still like playing around with both practical and CG effects. And the practical had been around a lot longer and looked a lot better compared to the CG.
In this is garbage. And I'm not even joking. It's
when it's only CG, when they're trying to like combine the ship with like space backgrounds, like that looks good.
That's fine, but the beginning with like the floating the floating water bottles,
terrible,
I'm like,
terrible.
Wow, I'm like that was trash even by 1997 or when did this come out?
No. Earlier than that, I think.
Really?
I think it's like 95
or
or 94. I think it's pretty early.
No, it's not 94.
I thought
we
it
were
was
in
like
high school when this came out.
I thought it was like 95. I wasn't in high school yet.
All right, you know what?
No, look it up.
No.
While you're doing that,
fuck this, because they're just gonna scream at us on YouTube. I'm gonna answer right now
because all the trailers were kind of making this is like kind of creepy because they had what looked like really good effects in the trailer at least. And we haven't really seen that many scary in-space movies outside of Alien.
1997, bitch!
Was it really? Holy shit, okay.
And
wow.
IMDb never lies.
Oh my god, I totally thought... No, you're right!
Yeah, we were in high school.
You're
That's why it looked really cool to us because we were teenagers.
Oh yeah, because this was after Mortal Kombat.
Yeah.
That's right, and when we were in high school.
These were bad CGI effects. The freaking Klingon blood in Star Trek 6 looked better than the floating 7.
No,
that was 1991, I think.
This looks like those CD-ROM games that were just coming out at the time where it's just like, ooh, we can do CG! And it's like, now it's just really bad. That is something I forget because we make fun of CG a lot, but I do forget practical effects and models and puppets and stuff like that have been around a lot longer. So as much as we say, CG, look how dated it is, I do forget it has not been around as long. So I'm still a fan of combining the two. I think that's where it works best. But it's one of those things where it's like you do have to consider that a little bit.
No, I'm not giving them this. Because as I said, there were CGI effects. Fucking Abyss, man, back in
Jurassic
1990.
Park still looks really good. Yeah,
bullshit. These are just shitty effects. Like, this is 1997. This is not like, oh, this is this is like 1982 with the Genesis effect in Star Trek 2. It's the first time CGI was ever used. No, this is like you had years to figure this out.
Okay, still compared to CG, years and years and years and years of practical effects.
There are some CGI effects from stuff from that decade where I totally give it. There's a few effects maybe in Jurassic Park. I'm like, yeah, you can see the. But I'm like,
they're mostly pretty solid.
1993, and that was the first time they were really trying to. I give it that. I'm not giving that to Event Horizon. That's not happening. That's not. They're just bad effects. I'm not saying that the artists were hacks. Maybe they were paid like $4 to do this, and they're like, well, you got what you paid for. But it's
it is the guy
good.
I feel bad because it's the guy that did Mortal Kombat, which they obviously said turned into a PG-13 movie, and this dude now has his chance to do a gory as hell movie, and they fucking cut it out. They give you clips of it, and by God,
this is what I wanted out of Mortal Kombat. And then the studio was just like, fuck you. And
by God, it's good gore. Yeah, I mean, when you freeze it and look at those, it's like, wow. And
go online. IO9 or Gizmo. Somebody was doing an article on it.
Yeah, just pause it.
And was just like, here's a lot of the stuff that, really didn't make it in the film for more than a second because they just did a quick flash forward. And I'm like, this is awesome. I mean, this is it was basically Hellraiser in space. Like,
definitely.
Not done well, but I mean, it was like, but this would have been the gore that I would have at least, because I'm like, if you're not going to make your movie good, at least make it like gory. Like, give me something. Give me some splatter to latch onto. And it's like, it couldn't even do that because the studio was just like, ugh.
There is you talked to Brad Jones about this and stuff, but there is like a charm to sort of like exploitation-ish films. Like there is kind of a style to it. And I think that gore exploitation is definitely a part of it.
I feel like that actually would have helped this film.
No, it would.
I feel like it would have made what seems stupid a little more charming if it was like, oh, well, this is just like a splatsploitation kind of film in space. And I'm like, but when you remove that one element, I'm like, well, now it's just a bad movie.
Yeah, I think there is definitely a creativity to gore, and when people, I think, sort of look at horror films and they're just like, oh, that's just garbage and just an excuse for gore and stuff, but there can be this creativity that comes from it. It's not always like, oh, the people that like this are sick, which, we are, don't get me wrong. But I think there is definitely this ingenuity and this creativity, because when you go see a scary film and somebody's killing somebody, you're seeing that to get your fear, to get your adrenaline up. That whole idea is kind of sick to begin with, so this is going all the way with the gore idea.
Within the same subject here, why Mortal Kombat blew.
Yes. Yes, I still don't get the fans of that movie, and I don't think I ever will. Maybe because you didn't. If they didn't grow up with it, all the games are gory. That is their charm. That is why they're creative. That is why they're popular. And the movie doesn't have it.
I left that movie going, I want to put on the game just so I can rip somebody's skull out because I didn't get that in this movie.
Just so I can rip off Johnny Cage's head over and over and go wah wah. But no, this movie is pretty silly. Obviously was intended, at least by the last third, to be a gore fest. I mean, just a straight up gore fest. And they cut that out. Clearly did some bad dubbing. This is one thing I forgot to talk about in the movie. Like, a lot of the close-ups are on Sam Neill's eyes or his face when he's all ripped up in there, when he's paper cut head or whatever he is. And he's like, now you know where we need to go. And there's this great, horrible dub where Lawrence Fishburne is there and he just puts his head down like this and back. And you can tell they just put in like, I know, to hell. And it's just so fake. And it's so clearly added in at the last minute to make it clear that, which even then I don't think they really did, that this is hell in space. I guess they found the portal to hell, which is already a silly idea. So if you're gonna do it, go all out crazy, like the eyes out of Sam Neill and all the crazy gore and stuff. But they
and that was my favorite scene in the movie, was his eyeless soliloquy. Soliloquy sans eyeballs.
Sam-liloquy.
To see or not to see. Like that, because I'm just like, okay, this is just batshit. And I'm like, you know what, I'll enjoy batshit.
And one of the reasons I did this film, we decided to do it, was that it has a following, which intrigued me. And I was just like, well, let me
to a certain degree I can see because I do find parts of it entertaining.
It's mostly dull, though. See, that's the thing.
see,
until the end. Then it kind of gets fun, but even then, it's not all the way.
Yeah, the problem is you can't win because... She won't let you. The first half, to a certain degree, I'm like, okay, I could see how this could be kind of like a suspenseful, like, ooh, spooky haunted ghost ship, what's going on? Good. But there's no payoff, because it turns into this batshit kind of crazy dumbbell movie where it's just like, oh no, it's just hell in space. Mm-hmm. Like, it's literally the plot to Doom, the game, which made a fine game, but I'm like, okay, there's no more plot here than we are space marines and opened a portal to hell. Yeah. That is the plot to this movie. So, but if you're going in expecting, oh, I want a splatter gore fest horror film, you have to wait, like, so freaking long to get to that, and even then, it's, like, so chopped down, so... Really, the film, to me, like, I get that some people like it, but my problem with it is I don't think it really pleases anybody, because, like, everything that should be good about it, either the director probably really wasn't going to be that good at to begin with, or the studio took the few things the director really was good at and was just like, no, screw you, and just, like, pulled it out of his hands.
Well, so much, I mean, we referenced this in the review, too. It's like, it's so Alien, the movie Alien, and just every shot, every... little instrument on the ship is so clearly from Alien, and the attitudes are like Alien. You know, it's just Alien, but not as charming, not as interesting, and not as new because it's been done. And when it finally gets to the semi-new stuff with them sort of entering hell and stuff like that, that's all chopped out, and we just get Alien with bad effects and not as interesting people. So it is one of those things where it's like I was sort of intrigued, like why did this get the following? Like if it had all that gore at the end. That at least would have been a little different and creative.
Well, one, I think
and
because it is so goofy is part of it.
But only parts are goofy. But I guess they are so goofy when you get to them.
I think in the same way that we may watch something that we realize is crappy, but we see through the crap to maybe sort of the fun things that were underneath. I think that's probably what's going on here, that people are like, all right, I'll overlook the fact that this is really not good. And just some of these scenes I find so entertaining that it's... As it pulled a bait and switch with me, because I remember when I saw it in high school, I actually liked the first half a little better.
Yeah, me too. Just because I was more serious.
Just because I was like, oh, well, this is gonna be a cool, serious ghost ship story, like ooh, suspense and like how Alien is basically until the last part, and then it did the bait and switch. I'm like, well, now this is just dumb. What is this?
Now I like the dumb part
more. As
an
adult, I'm just like, oh, the second half of this film is amazing.
Would you think it'd be the other way around?
Yeah. No, just because, like, I would rather watch a real serious film then, instead of getting, like, just freaking cock-teased.
Yeah. No, I had the same thing when I watched it. I remember we were watching, we're just like, man, it's like, it seemed like that was really going somewhere, and then never did. And then we look back, it's like, man, you see much more of this formula and this style and everything. It's not impressive as it used to be. But then when it goes really silly at the end, it's kind of like, well, I don't see this kind of silly that often. It is pretty silly. But there's two types of people that I see that like this film. One is the people that do see it to kind of make fun of it, and even they can't always explain why they like it. Or there's the only comparison I can make to it is the Family Guy episode where John Benjamin and Peter's son are just like, you gotta talk to me about Event Horizon, man. Come on, I need your opinion. It's like, all right, I thought it was amazing. It's the most amazing film in the world. Hug me. It's kind of like a grown up. I just knew a bunch of jocks in high school that just like loved this movie, and I'm just like, it's gotta be something like just.
There are movies like that, like Batman Returns. Me, whenever I find somebody who's just like, I think Batman Returns is the best of that series, I'm like, thank you. I knew you would come.
You know what I mean? It's like it's kind of like the same people that's like, and I don't dislike this movie or anything. I forget if it's the Transporter, the Teleporter, the Jason Statham.
Transporter.
Yeah, like...
The Teleporter? I'm gonna be right.
What? I forget. But, yeah, okay. I guess... Teleporter doesn't really... That's only a Star Trek
Call term, his agent. We need to make that movie happen.
Yeah, I guess that is only a Star Trek term,
that'd be awesome.
Sorry, I didn't get much sleep, I'm sorry. But yeah, like a lot of people, like, the movie's okay. I mean, it's got some fun action stuff, but like there are people that just freak out over it, and they're usually kind of like sportsy jock people, and that's not an insult at all. It's interesting what movies kind of hit them. Maybe there's just certain elements and certain stunts and certain ideas that just like, yeah, like that hits them, like that really gets them.
Do you think maybe this is like a horror gateway drug, like for those jock types that aren't like the real horror fans, but just want that taste of horror, and they're just like, oh, that was awesome. Meanwhile, real horror fans are like, yeah, that was all right. Where's the rest of it?
Like, Alien, I think
I'm not enough of a horror
and stuff. But like
we'll
we'll
let YouTube beat the hell out of each other figuring that out in the comments section. But I'm not enough of a horror fan to really know. So like I've never claimed to be a quote unquote horror fan. I'm not one of those people that's like
no. We have friends that are that could probably tell us more, but they're like die-hard horror geeks.
Well, we'll have to ask Jason.
Like he's the die-hard horror geek, but. Yeah, and like watching it, really it's more like, I don't remember the performances being especially bad or anything, again, with Sam Neill has fun at the end. But like, I just remember it's kind of dull, it's kind of meandering, and then just like, now you're in hell, and we're in hell, and are you out of the ship? Are you? And most of the funny stuff to make fun of it came from the story. The story just makes no sense, and none of the things that they do, and we kept this mission, secret, everything about it, until now. Now we'll tell you what's going on. It's like, why? Why would you not trust these people?
Who sends a scientific and or military expedition into space who's like, yeah, sorry, we totally tricked you.
And only one scientist that understands what's going on, and he turns out to be crazy. It's like, this it should be like half military, half scientists, shouldn't it?
Well, they were trying to do the alien thing, where it's like, but I don't know, I have a much easier time believing that a corporation would try to fuck you in the ass than, the military. Like,
weren't they?
You need to know this shit.
In Alien, weren't they like woken up? They're just like, you're the only ship out there. You gotta, go or something like that.
Yeah, but I always thought I always thought that
whatever.
Ash had like the secret orders to bring this thing back because that's what the company wanted. And I thought the computer, basically, I thought admitted that like, yeah, rest of you guys are expendable. So, and they did the same thing in Aliens. Frickin' Paul Reiser played the role he was born for, a douchebag. And I feel bad for that guy. He may be totally reasonable, but he just does it so well. So I don't know. I feel like I buy that more. I feel like if you're part of a scientific or military expedition, everything there is based on information, not like you want the information, you want the tactics, you want to be able to take on the enemy. Yeah. So it just doesn't make sense to me. Like corporate idiot goons, that makes sense.
Corporate goons,
hired goons, hired goons. I don't know. The whole plot just was. God.
And visually, I'm trying to think, does the movie hold up? And it kind of does in some areas. Like, none of it makes sense. Why would that room be designed that way? But, visually it looks kind of nice, but it's like, again, I feel like I've seen so much of that in other films.
It's very 2001 crossed with Disney's Black Hole.
Yeah. I just feel like I've seen so much of that. And
a little bit of Alien, and of course Hellraiser.
Yeah, I think this was kind of at the time when, Tool was very big and Marilyn Manson was very big, so that kind of style we were starting to see a lot of it, and it was cool, because we haven't really seen that much. It's just so, we're kind of tired of that style, because it's been everywhere,
It's very dated. I look at Event Horizon, and I think exactly when it was released. I'm like, late 90s. I can tell you, right? It's like The Matrix. I'm like, late 90s, early 2000s.
Yeah.
And I guess on the one hand, Event Horizon, it was like, that was before The Matrix, so I'm like, maybe they were a little ahead of their time. But I just feel like that style, late 90s, early 2000s, all had that black, weird chrome, leathery look, lots of green everywhere.
You see a lot of music videos and stuff. I kind of think of music
David
videos
Fincher films always have that kind of vibe to them.
So even that, maybe because at the time it was kind of new and kind of the style, but now
still felt
it's
fresh then. Now I look at them, it's like,
it's like not awful.
It's like watching Spawn. I felt the same thing at the time. I was like, oh, this is amazing. I'm just like, oh, this is so dated.
Yeah. The makeup in Spawn is still amazing.
No, the makeup's good. I'm just talking about the visual style, like the look they went for. Like, I was gonna knock their socks off, and I'm just like, oh my god, that's so old.
Yeah. I remember just mostly being dull until the end, where it gets a little silly and a little fun because of how bad it is, but even the best stuff with the gore, which again, you can pause, you can look at closely and stuff. I want to see that footage. I want to see what
Is there a director's cut?
No, not yet. I think they're like trying to get one, but I don't think it's ever gonna. I don't think there's enough of a following. There is a following.
The funny thing is, like, on the one hand, I'm really curious. With the other hand, I laugh because I'm just like, ooh, finally, what the world asked for, Event Horizon director's cut. Like, I would be interested, but
well, because here's the thing,
I'm not sure the world at large outside of the cult following.
It's not like the whole movie would have been that, because all the people start disappearing about halfway through, and there's so much footage shot.
It would not have saved the movie,
talking,
but it would have given, I think, a little bit more of a payoff. Just like, oh, well, okay, so the first half was boring, but at least it ended completely batshit, and I got some, gore out of it.
It would have had more of an identity. Because you can just tell all the things this film is borrowing from, but when it gets to that, even though you could argue, that's kind of like Hellraiser and stuff, it is so distinctly detailed and disturbing, and a lot of very practical effects, and it's just like, ooh, I mean, it's just so unnerving. And I think when you see it done to pretty much all the main characters, except for like 2 or 3 or something like that, that's kind of uncomfortable too, because in Hellraiser, it's usually like 1 or 2 people, but this is like all the main characters this is happening to. There's some
effective scenes. I actually like the scene in the airlock. Like the kid getting stuck in the I'm like, okay, this is a suspenseful scene. There's this like, again, I felt like though they were just scenes. Like I felt like the whole movie didn't work around it, but I'm like, okay, I could see how in a better movie this would be a really cool scene. Like I
feel like that scene, like I get the feeling that scene was written better than it was done, because the music,
score.
And I feel like, man, if that was a more
the score to the movie's hilarious.
No, I was saying if that was a more quiet scene, or maybe the music's just very like it just keeps building, but that would have been really uncomfortable.
Well,
and
that's
really
all part of the identity
because
issue.
it's all
know what it wants to be.
In your face.
Again, because like, are we trying to be like a real serious suspenseful movie, or is this just going to be a really shouty throw shit on the screen?
Yeah, gore fest. And it's just it's kind of didn't work in anyway. So yeah, it's kind of a shame. I would like to see that footage. I hope one day they do release it. I don't think it's ever going to happen because, like I said, I just don't think there's enough of a following to it. Even though there is a following, definitely there is, but I don't think it's big enough to, I don't know if it'll make a profit if they release that, to go find the footage, restore it, put it in. I don't think they would make enough profit to justify that, but maybe it would. You never know. The fans out there, make your voices heard if that's what you want to do. I don't know.
That would make me laugh though. Like, of all the things that are on the cutting room floor out there, and all the great films that have been lost to history, it's like, well, at least we finally got the cutting room floor version of Event Horizon.
Yes, at last.
Hollywood.
So, I think that's about it. Don't quite get the following, but if you like it for whatever reason, and more power to you. To even get that footage out there, you probably won't.
It exists.
But yeah, it's out there. Maybe it can happen. So, cool, that's about it, and we will see you next time. Bye.
You can't leave. He won't let you.
I have no ending.
The fuck was that?
I was like ripping the eyes out. It didn't really. Yeah. Hold on. There, now my eyes are out because these are like my eyes.
We're leaving.
Fuck this ship!